everybody. This is Steve from Team Cleaverland. We'd like to thank all the haunts that hosted us this year. Azra, Chamber of Horrors, Blood Prison, The Haunted Hoochie, Hudson Haunted House, Mohican Haunted Schoolhouse, Reaper's Revenge, The Haunted Hydro, and The Trail of Nightmares. We had a great time everywhere we visited, and we were so impressed with all your efforts to get open and stay open in a responsible way during the pandemic. So thanks to everyone who was open, and for those who made the difficult decision not to open, we hope to see you next year. Team Cleveland's Best Actor or a Prop award goes to Azra Chamber of Horrors in Madison Heights, Michigan. So, Azra had really good effects overall, but none better than this one room that had us asking the age-old question, is it an actor or a prop? Which was a moment you'll come across multiple times in a season, but what we saw here really was set apart with a totally spot-on execution. The actor, the makeup, the costume, the lighting in the room, everything about it all made it look like this was the most clear-cut example ever of this has to be a prop, right? Until the actor jumped up, and so did we, right out of our skins, we felt like. So congratulations to Azra for paying extra close attention to all the details that elevated this somewhat standard issue type of scene and set it up and paid it off into something really special. Team Cleveland's Most Captivating Site Award for 2020 goes to Blood Prison in Mansfield, Ohio. Blood Prison has an amazing location at the Ohio State Reformatory. This is a decommissioned prison with a long and honestly pretty brutal and bloody history. It's been in movies like The Shawshank Redemption, it's been on TV shows, it's been in a lot of books about paranormal activity because this building is reputed to be one of the most haunted places in the country. It has an incredible look and feel to it. So if you've never been there, take a look at Blood Prison's Facebook page. There's a video on there that starts with an overhead zoom-in shot going into the building, and then it shows some of the insides with shots of the deteriorating walls and rotting jail cells and so forth. Just a remarkable place to host a haunt. From when you first catch your glimpse of it, this just enormous building, to walking through all of the rotting guts of it. The real high-life historical aspect of it, plus all the ghost hunting angle, just adds a ton of authentic layers to the experience. Wildest Attraction and Cast Award for 2020 goes to The Haunted Hoochie in Pataskala, Ohio. Now, there probably shouldn't be too much surprise here because the Hoochie is pretty notorious as a real out there, extreme, way over the top attraction. And if that's all there was to it, we probably wouldn't like it as much as we do because the thing about it is they make it so damn fun. Every time we go there, we're just yelling and screaming, laughing, and shaking our heads the whole way through at all of the outrageous scenes, the belligerent cast members, and honestly, insane volume of effects. It just feels like you're under attack the whole time you're out there. And we think it's a unique experience, and we love it. So if you want all the gory details, go look up the last few reviews on the Scare Factor website. It should give you some idea about what you're in for, but really you should go there and experience it for yourself. It's a trip, and it's wild, and it's awesome. Cleaverland's Best Decorated Queue Award for 2020 goes to Mohican Haunted Schoolhouse in Perrysville, Ohio. This attraction is a textbook answer to the question, what makes a good queue? Well, we think it should give you things to look at, stuff to do, ideally tie into the theming of the attraction, give you a taste of the flavor of what awaits inside, basically get you in the mood and prepare you and take your mind off the fact that you are waiting in a line. And we think Mohican does that all really well. Their queue is set in what quite obviously used to be the gym, so that ties into the whole theme of being a haunted schoolhouse, and it's a real delight to be in. It's just jam-packed with puppets and props, and there's great lighting set up. just like what's inside, where this haunt has some fantastic effects all over the place. Also, there are photo ops, and they have pictures from past seasons. A movie plays on the wall, and all of this works together really well to get your juices flowing and pump you up to go in. So, great job on the movie. Team Cleaverland's Best Set Design Award for 2020 goes to Mohican Haunted Schoolhouse in Perrysville, Ohio. When we think about this haunt, just about the first thing that comes to mind is set design. The very first scene is something out of a Hammer Dracula movie. It's this cemetery where you enter the gates, and it's full of fog and moody lighting. The tombstones are right on. There's statuary there, and the first time we were there, it just hits you that extreme care has been taken to make an immersive setting. Another great set is the laboratory that really looks like an actual functioning scientific environment with all the sci-fi trappings like the zapping electrical nodes and heads in jars. There's an alien autopsy table, gadgets and devices and surgical implements. It's just fantastic. So if you're a fan of really good sets, we say get to Mohican Haunted Schoolhouse. Team Cleaverland's Most Nerve-Wracking Award for 2020 goes to the Trail of Nightmares in Ontario, Ohio.
Hi! Welcome to the Trail of Nightmares.
There's just something about being out in the woods on a chilly dark night that says scary haunt. And right from our very first steps on the trail, this place had us on edge. It was really quiet except for the distant screams, and the chainsaws, of course, felt just like what I imagined walking through the Camp Crystal Lake movie set would be like. And after that trio, the effects, most especially the lighting and sound, as well as all the actors who gave great performances, and they had great timing, the sets, the natural environment, it all just came together to ratchet up that tension. And when we were done, my team partner, who's also my spouse, said that she was done for the night. She said, I can't do any more haunts tonight because the Trail of Nightmares broke me, basically. And that pretty much says it all. So, like Willy Wonka said, by way of Oscar Wilde, the suspense is terrible, I hope it lasts. And they took that quotation to heart at Trail of Nightmares and made it come to horrible life. Team Cleaverland's Most Theming Award for 2020 goes to the Haunted Hydro in Fremont, Ohio. When you go to a lot of haunts, it's refreshing to see some very original thinking and to experience something you never have before. And that was true of the one-of-a-kind approach the Haunted Hydro took at the indoor part of its attraction, which was called the Bizarre Bazaar. This was presented as a kind of museum full of sideshow-style exhibits, and the soundtrack had a voiceover describing each room you were going through. And it was this British gentleman with cultivated tones saying things like, "Oh, you have now found yourself in the jungle room." As if you're listening to one of these nature shows or a BBC documentary. It made for a really pleasing contrast between the gory scenery and the actors popping out at you versus this calm, pleasant commentary. It was a great touch, and it really added to the experience, so kudos to whoever came up with that and made it happen. Team Cleveland's Best Historical Extra Award for 2020 goes to the Haunted Hydro in Fremont, Ohio for its Museum of Memorabilia. We're calling this one the Best Historical Extra, but it's probably the best extra overall of any kind that we saw this year. So after the trail and before the indoor attraction, you could go into these two trailers. One of them had framed pictures from the photo shoots that the Hydro hosts most months, and you should go read this year's review if you want to learn more about those. But the other trailer housed a vast cornucopia of memorabilia of Hydro history from its more than 30 years of existence. And I am a total sucker for this kind of thing, and I easily could have spent a half hour in there, reading the newspaper clippings and looking at the ads on the wall, checking out all the old t-shirts and the other merch. If you're into haunt history and trivia and souvenirs and such, this is yet another great reason to go to the Haunted Hydro. Cleaverland's Best Multi-Generational Cast Award goes to Hudson Haunted House in Hudson, Ohio. Hudson's been doing this a long time. Next season will be their 50th year, and that makes it the longest operating attraction in Ohio. And as you might expect, that means there are some legacy members whose parents, or in some cases grandparents, work there or even work there still. Also, it's run by the JCs, which is a group that was pretty pivotal in the history of haunts, and that's a youth organization, so that's just another reason that plays into having actors of all ages around there. Now, a lot of times when you have kid actors, you get that kind of, not that scary feeling, but we really did not feel that at Hudson. It's a lot easier to do as a grown-up because your size and your voice are bigger, but all the actors there were pretty intimidating, and that has something to do with training and lessons getting handed down between generations and taking pride in your place that's been around forever. So congrats to Hudson Haunted House for having the most consistently good cast, from the youngsters to the older actors. Team Cleaverland's Most Authentic Circus Award for 2020 goes to Reaper's Revenge in Scranton, Pennsylvania for its trail attraction, The Lost Carnival. One of the most seen themes everywhere, really, is a dark circus or evil carnival, or at least a scene with some clowns in it. Looking back on this season, every single one of the attractions we went to had some kind of circusy section, but none of them like this. The Lost Carnival at Reaper's Revenge was on a whole other level than anywhere we've ever seen. The sights, the sounds, the cotton candy smells, the actors, just everything about it made this a next level, authentic, immersive atmosphere and experience. You'll walk by a number of real amusement park rides, like a merry-go-round, the paratrooper ride, and a Ferris wheel that's actually still working and spinning. Team Cleaverland's Jaw-Dropping Effects Award for 2020 goes to Reaper's Revenge in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Now, Reaper's Revenge had marvelous effects in all three of their attractions this year, but the most mind-blowing ones were definitely on its haunted hayride. Right away, just as soon as it starts, they hit you with a scene outside some castle gates with a Reaper figure that talks to you from above the wagon, and they follow that up with huge blasts of pyro on every side of you. And it just went from there. Some very impressive sets. There's a psychedelic Alice in Wonderland scene. They have a giant spider lair full of enormous webs, and spiders too, of course. There's a section loaded with jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkinhead puppets, and just the scale of some of these effects was just enormous. There are these props towering way over your head and making you feel tiny. Toward the end, they had a realistic-looking old barn that was home to a family of psychos that threatened everybody, and the last bit is another enclosed space that has the Reaper coming back for a truly stupendous finale. Really one of the best we've seen in quite a while.